have reached Red Steel's Awesome Toy Collector Review. I'm your man, Red Steel. And today this one goes out to all the ladies, because I'll be reviewing from Masters of the Universe, Masterverse, Princess of Power, She-Ra. Princess of Power, She-Ra. But before I get to the actual review, I just want to go over some of the beautiful details on this packaging. Up front here, a typical display window showing you both the figure and all accessories inside. Then on top of the packaging here in the corner it says 30 points of articulation. Then over here it says Masterverse. Then on front of the packaging here you have a 6+, which is the age requirement for this figure. And next to that you see the 40 emblem, which is the representation of the 40th anniversary of Masters of the Universe. Then over here it says Princess of Power, She-Ra. Then in the corner here you have the Mattel logo. Then on the side of the packaging here, it says She-Ra, most powerful woman in the universe. Then on the other side of the packaging here, there's a beautiful profile picture of She-Ra. Then on the back of the packaging here, you have fantastic illustration of She-Ra riding on Swiftwind. Then over here it says, She-Ra, most powerful woman in the universe. When Adora raises a sword of protection above her head and cries, for the honor of Grayskull, she transforms into She-Ra, Princess of Power and leader of Eternia's Great Rebellion. Then on the bottom here you have a cross-up available figures in this series. Then over here you have the Mattel logo, empowering the next generation through play. Masterverse, Princess of Power Deluxe, She-Ra. She-Ra was released on June 1st, 2022 with the suggested retail price of $32.99, and she was available at all major retailers. She-Ra was released along with the other Masterverse Deluxe Wave 5 figure, Hordak. She-Ra has 30 points of articulation, and her accessories include her power sword, shield, 2 capes, 2 interchangeable heads, and 2 interchangeable hands. She-Ra stands 7 inches tall, and she is meant for fans ages 6 and up. Now that I have She-Ra on my display table, just want to go over some of her play features and accessories. And I have to say, this figure is so well crafted. Just such great detail put into it, and I think you could tell that Mattel put a lot of love in this figure. Just from starting off with the boot detail here, it's molded out of separate gold plastic, and it's got kind of a metallic luster to it. You got some paint detail in front of it, and even the texture kind of gives it that boot feel to it, like it's like a leather almost, like a different texture than the skin texture and a cloth texture, because you got the top cloth detail texture here too also. And believe it or not, the gauntlets here are not actually molded out of separate plastic. It's actually a paint detail, but it matches real closely with the boots here. There's the same paint details used for the belt here and this little emblem in her front of her dress. Because the crown here is actually molded out of a gold plastic also, as is the face is molded out of a different plastic from the hair here. And if you're a fan of the original Princess of Power toy line, you'll know that the original toy line were classified as dolls. And the only reason they were classified as dolls was they had doll hair. Because a lot of the Masters of the Universe toy line figures did have females, but the females had the plastic molded hair like Teela and Evil-Lyn, which classified them more as action figures. And since this figure has the hair that was molded out of a plastic, it is classified as an action figure, not a doll like the original Princess of Power She-Ra toy line. Because all those figures were classified as dolls, and that's where I kind of fell off when that toy line came out, because I was reaching my pre-teens, and He-Man honestly was kind of fading out around that time, and I only held on to a select few toys. And on the horizons we had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that kind of blew the doors off and kind of put a lot of the other toy lines under at the time, because the interest was all directed towards TMNT. But getting back to this figure, you came with a couple of accessories. And of course, Mattel loves to include interchangeable hands. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, I was getting kind of sick of dealing with interchangeable hands, because I'd rather have You know, if I'm gonna get 5 extra accessories, I'd rather have cool accessories, not extra hands. But the hands do have some great detail because you get knuckle detail, fingernail detail, and palm detail. I mean, hands, you could open the hands up and they kind of go back to the original form. And I do that because when I want to arm my figure, and let me bring in the next accessory for that, the power sword. In order to arm the figure, you do have to pry the fingers open. You slide the sword in so when it goes back into its original form, it conforms around the sword. And the cool thing about this power sword is it's actually molded out of a translucent blue plastic, and it was painted over with the silver paint. And you can kind of see that detail bleed through the paint, because sometimes when it shines the light, you see kind of that blue hue to it when it shines on the metallic part of the sword. It's pretty cool. And the only bad thing is when I pulled the sword out of the package, she did come with the sword in hand, kind of pull off some of the paint. You can see that right there. I don't know if we can focus in on that. So that's how I know that it was molded out of a blue plastic. Put that off to the side. You also get the shield, which is also molded out of that same blue plastic. As you can see, like if you look at some angles, you can see that the blue plastic kind of bleeds through the paint. Right? In order to arm her with this shield, you just slide her hand just like you did with He-Man. Goes in just like that. It's a really cool accessory. I don't really recall her shield in the cartoon series. I think I do remember her holding up the sword, and I think when she says her phrase and she turns into She-Ra, she did have the sword on hand, or the shield on hand. I just can't really recall, because I know He-Man didn't really use his shield too often in the cartoon series. Grab her. But she also came with this extra cape and this extra interchangeable head. And the story behind this interchangeable head is her crown that She-Ra comes with. You're supposed to take a crown off, turn it upside down, and turn it to a mask to kind of conceal her identity. That was kind of lost in translation when they floated over a lot of the concept designs for that animated model for She-Ra in the cartoon series. So they only went with this version of She-Ra, but she was supposed to wear a mask, and that's what the original toy line intended. But in order to change that head, the head's on a ball socket joint. You just pop that head right out. But in order to change the cape, you gotta take the head off. So to take the old cape off, you pull the ring off from around the neck. And the nice thing about like the soft goods, like I mentioned before, nice and sheer and soft, and they conform to the body, and they're not very stiff. Where a lot of action figure companies that make capes, the fabric's so stiff it kind of looks like a fleece. It doesn't really like fit well on the figures. In order to put the new cape on, you take the shoulder. There's like shoulder pads, and there's a hole for the neck. Slide it right over the ball socket joint, just like that. Then you take the new head. At the bottom of the head is a ball socket porthole in the bottom right here. And you don't get that same click. Like, I don't know, for some reason when I play with my Mattel figures, or when I interchange the head with the Mattel figures, like the WB figures and the Masterverse figures, the default head always pops back into place, but it's always that interchangeable head. I don't hear that pop. I'm never sure if the head's on all the way. But now you have She-Ra in her intended She-Ra look from the original toy. But I'm not a big fan of that, like you guys know, and I always like the look of the original animated model from the cartoon series. So I'm going to go ahead and pop that off, put the new cape on, or the default cape on with the ring. Grab her head, and you're going to hear that pop. I don't know why, but every time I put the default head back on, you get the pop. But I'm going to go ahead and arm her with a power sword. But if you guys found any of the information in this review available, please like and share this video. Also, if you really enjoy my content, please subscribe to my channel. I want to thank you guys for watching Rad Steel's Awesome Toy Collector Review. I'll check you guys out next time.